Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Day 9, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the last day of the last Heart of the Swarm tournament ever. This is the WCS Grand Finals. How you doing, BlizzCon? Yes. 4 players remain. What an incredible 4 it is. And what a hell of a day it was yesterday, Jeff.
Yes, I'm in control. And that's Dario and Maynard, and we're here with you to kick some butt. We're going to do it.
We got this, Jeff. Right here, Jeff. Come on. There you go.
I'm sorry.
On point. We didn't rehearse that. That's why that went bumpy. Now, Dario, yesterday we saw a lot of huge favorites like Hero, like Innovation fall early on. I mean, what was your read on seeing them pop out of the tournament in the round of 8?
Well, the story just seems to be that if you try to put out some early punches, you're going to take BlizzCon.
Yeah.
Like that.
I'm in the mode now. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, but looking at the semifinals now, I still don't know who's going to take it.
I mean, Maynard, you got the chance to cast some of those games yesterday, too.
What an honor and a privilege that was.
I mean, what was the highlight of yesterday for you?
I actually still goes back, when I think about yesterday, what was really, really amazing, I mean, you know, obviously there was the crazy things that Hydra did, which were entertaining. I don't know if you want to call them good.
Yeah,
they were
I was
entertaining.
wondering where you were going with that. I was like, yeah, really?
Yeah.
But a good game was Hero vs. Classic game number 3 on Cactus Valley. That was an amazing PvP, one of the best I remember.
And, I mean, there's still the potential for a PvP matchup to close out this entire event. In case you missed the round of 8 yesterday, let's take a look at what went down. Let's kick off WCS 2015 Grand Finals.
StarCraft fans around the world, BlizzCon, are you ready? The #1 WCS player for 2015 about to go up against a player that has beaten him in the last 3 Premier tournaments. Warping in here, the main event to his armies is back there, and he loses 2 zealots immediately. Is going to be the end of the CJN Players run here for the World Championship at BlizzCon 2015. Classic, top 4 last year, top 4 this year. GG performance, GG. I think I'm going to be picking up that trophy. Ladies and gentlemen, Classic moves on to the round of 4 here at the WCS Global Final.
We have 2 of the most important, famous StarCraft players in the history of Heart of the Swarm. It's going to be Innovation versus Life. This is the match that so many of us have been waiting for.
Zerglings, it might be able to work out, especially considering they can turn into Hellbats. Nice surround here with the Zerglings over. A great catch on these Valiant. Looks like Innovation slowly getting surrounded. More bungles going down. These queens starting to really push in.
It's time to find out who will be the next player to approach the semifinals. It's Rain versus SLS, Standard versus Creative.
He goes right in for it. He actually gets the Colossus. The Forces actually trap all those elephant sentries here with the Stalkers at the same time. He's going to pick everything off. He has the blink. The Stalkers look up to grab one of the Colossi. They grab the second Colossi. There's one left, but the army's gone. $sign moves on to the semifinals here at the WCS Global Finals.
The final quarterfinal match is one of 2 underdogs against one another. It's going to be Rogue versus Hydra.
This guy is all his. He can do whatever he wants. This spawning pool, so he can't make any units. You know, there's so many things. Look how many random roaches at him.
This is the first time he's ever gotten to the round of 4 in any of his major titles. In control, Apollo Nathanius and David Kim, the senior David Kim of Blizzard Entertainment. David, it's a pleasure to be with you.
At the same time, STO coming in over here, doing a ton of damage. They are actually 70 army supply up an advantage, and it's looking like it might be a 3-0.
We come back tomorrow with only 4 players left. It's time to crown a champion. See you then. And with that, only 4 players now remain. It's Classic versus Life and SOS versus Rogue, or as the Hearthstone community would call him, Rouge. Now, in this, if we take a look at the brackets, there have been some absolutely insane results that have come out of it. Of course, for me personally, the Maru versus Rogue 3-0 at the bottom is my number one. Maynard, when you look at this, the path that these players took, what's the match that stands out to you as the biggest upset?
Well, considering it was not that long ago, and it was like the surest thing in the whole world for me to pick this victory, even though Life is the 2014 champion, I thought Innovation in Life would look a lot different score-wise and game-wise, not just score-wise. I thought the games were not what I expected, to say the least.
Yeah, as a veteran of choking under pressure, you looked at Innovation, you're going, I think he's choking in game 4.
Especially if you look at the round of 16 where he was so dominant. It was a stark contrast between the 2 rounds. So I'd agree that Innovation versus Life was quite the upset. I was looking forward to an epic best of 5, and then Life just crushed him.
Just finds a way. I mean, I think when you say choking, I think that becomes like even most valid when we saw that Thor, as you guys said, in the fetal, or as Tatzel said, in the fetal position, just fluttering around the field for like, it felt like forever, and I'm sure to him it felt like forever too, because he's like, there's nowhere good to land this thing, and it was like, Innovation, what are you doing? But
yeah, it looked like that guy at the party that just can't quite get into a conversation, so you just see him moving around with a red cup the whole time.
Yeah,
not that we don't have any experience with that. We're the cool kids at the party for sure.
Speaking of choking though, like Dario, last night at the Legacy of the Void show match.
Well, you know, I'm not training for this BlizzCon tournament. I'm preparing for the next expansion of StarCraft to actually play that show match.
Well, that's a dicey decision. Yeah.
I'm thrilled to have you here on the sofa because you're an expert on creativity.
Yes.
And we have 3 known creative players here in the semifinals. I mean, what's your read on why these 3 players are here, Life, Classic, SOS?
I feel when it's such a high-stake tournament, it's important to take initiative. Because it's so hard to actually play as good as in training when you're here.
Yep.
And that is harder for macro players. Because if you're a strong macro player that just plays standard, you need to nail down your build order to the T. But if you're a more creative player that takes initiative, you're allowed to make mistakes because you're getting a natural advantage if you just deal heavy blows, you know? It doesn't matter if you miss 2 probes, if you just kill the Colossus and then just follow up with a timing attack.
Well, just playing devil's advocate, because I feel like the natural argument against that, and I don't necessarily disagree with you, but I just want to hear what you have to say about it, would be like, these guys are the top echelon of pros. Like, these guys travel to studios all the time. They travel the world all the time. Shouldn't it not matter as much, or what do you say to that?
Well, looking at the, you know, games in the last days, it feels like it does matter.
Okay.
Even though the Korean pro gamers do have a lot of experience, they actually don't travel that much to international tournaments. Most of their games are happening within Korea, which is to them a much more comfortable home environment that they're used to, and then you only take a shuttle there.
Hero said in his interview too, like round of 16 was tough for him because he didn't feel like he got enough sleep. So
Right. They're not used to as much international travel, so it can definitely be a factor.
Yeah, and I mean, a build order is like if you're on a motorcycle going 300 miles an hour.
I do that.
And then you turn a little bit and you start doing that thing. I mean, Innovation, I mean, that Thor was so telling of that mental state. But, you know, Maynard, you got the chance to watch Rogue yesterday. He's the player that, you know, many of the fans, many of the commentators even know the least about because he has never really reached a major championship. This is his first round of 4. What did his games look like when you had the front row seat?
Well, Moonglade actually said it the best, and that is the reason why he thinks he's going to win the whole tournament, still does, is because he's very, very good. Yes.
He thinks that?
Absolutely.
Really? He wasn't
Interesting.
Just,
is he taking bets, do you think? Or?
And maybe hard drugs. I'm not sure. But no, seriously. Like, Jinair Brogue is a very, very good player at preparing. And we saw how well he prepared for Hydra. He was 15 pulling, never getting greedy. He knew that Hydra was, you know, going to be cheeky, even on a 4-player map. And, you know, that's really what I took away from it, is just that he just seemed to have an answer for what Hydra had. I mean, except for game 1, obviously, but from then on, he
could be onto something. I mean, you were talking about a lot, too, with how he destroyed Maru. I mean,
that's
maybe
a hard thing to do.
It comes down to that preparation, I suppose, yeah.
There was something that really impressed me about Rogue, and I think that it is probably the hardest skill in pro gaming, which is when your plan gets thrown off, when there's a surprise, when there's a distraction, how do you collect yourself and advance forward? And a lot of people like to look at preparation-based players and say, oh, he had an all-in, he had a timing attack, he just found the thing to practice it, it was good, done. But I was really impressed at Rogue's ability to stay calm when finding that an all-in was coming to him and then having spotted it late. I mean, Dario even pointed out the fact that he built 2 spine crawlers right next to each other, which is the worst thing to do if your opponent had built a baneling nest, but is the best thing to do against the exact type of timing push that Hydra did.
Well, and that makes sense because Rogue himself is a very aggressive player, which ironically also makes him a really strong defensive player against all-ins because he knows what the attacker has at that point and how he's going to feel. And that gives you, it's funny in that way that if you're a cheesy player, you're probably also pretty good at defending cheeses.
Oh, all right. We're talking a lot about Rogue, talking him up. But do you guys honestly believe he has a chance against SOS? I mean,
no, not a chance.
Yeah,
there is no way.
0. We could basically just call it now, I think. Be very anticlimactic, but it would save the schedule. But no, I mean, like, this is his first time past the round of 8. He's facing SOS, who is a BlizzCon champion and has been on a few of these stages where he's won. Do we think in a best of 5, he stands, okay, let me change myself, a reasonable chance? Is other than Moonglade, is there anyone out there that believes that?
I will argue that there is a non-zero percentage.
Wow,
Very
that's
safe
very
answer.
brave.
Which is
Very safe
actually
answer.
literally the safest possible answer. That's
Very
anything
safe.
can happen. I'm an expert.
That is exactly the answer I was looking for when I asked that question. Does anyone have a
Okay.
completely middle-of-the-road statement they want to just kind of poop out in the air?
I have something substantive.
Okay, go, please.
They're on the same team. They get the opportunity to play a lot of games together, and I think that is one of the things that came out yesterday. If you're playing against someone like SOS, training a lot in those sort of environments, you're gonna get used to having things get thrown off. So I expect that might be the secret. Every single round, Rogue has brought something special.
And imagine if he killed both Maru and then SOS on his way to the finals of BlizzCon. That would be
Well,
ridiculous.
then he's the champ.
So,
He'd
Chef,
be okay with it, I suppose.
Chef, as somebody who lived in a very prestigious StarCraft team house,
Yeah.
who did it favor in EG when you were practicing against each other?
I know there's a dig there somewhere, and it's probably about me losing, and it's actually also true. But I find that interesting because in StarCraft, yeah, for sure, you do practice perhaps the most with your team, and of course you're discussing strategy, and that does factor in. But I don't know. I feel like you'd have to be a certain kind of player for that to just completely annihilate your chances. Where you're like, well, I have to completely reinvent myself. I think at some level, okay, that just happened.
Ladies and
I
gentlemen.
didn't see where the fly went. There's a chance it's inside my body
No,
right
it flew off.
Could be.
No, it flew off. It flew off.
Now, we have only 30 seconds left here up on the sofa. Maynard, your pick to win the whole tournament.
SOS now.
Dario,
Classic.
life. Massive indecision from the sofa.
The fan.
Woo! That's right. That's right, everyone. It's important to note that my answers pander to you, the most important part of this entire tournament. I'd like to just test this again. My vote is for life.
It's a tick.
Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, it is time to begin the final day, the top 4 of the WCS Grand Championship.
That fly.